Hey everyone, welcome to the Prepared Mind channel. I want to thank everybody who spends time with us. They're here to learn, you're here to share, we're here to commiserate with all the craziness that's going on. But it's about getting prepared. And I want to thank you for doing it for yourself, for those that you love, and something we do, I guess, for the country even. Because what kind of country are we going to have if we're not prepared to fight for it and defend it? And man, do we have a lot to defend against. Anyways, we got Mr. Uman is the moderator in chief behind the scenes. Every now and then he makes an appearance. But get your questions, comments, thoughts down below for what's going on today. And we all need to be prepared. We all need to be prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Indeed. So let's start us off. I'm going to do my 30-minute monologue, and then you guys out there, share your thoughts now as they come up. If you already have your ideas, get them in to the comments section. If you're at the preparedmind.club, you're here. Subscribestar.com, you're here. Or X, a.k.a. Twitter. Right off the bat, rock legend Ozzy Osbourne, dead, age 76. The conspiracy theory is they killed Ozzy to distract us from the Epstein files. I'm not putting anything past them anymore. Now, they're going to subpoena Ghislaine Maxwell. That's right, Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's partner in crime. She is a convicted sex trafficker who trafficked nobody to no perverts anywhere, but somehow she's still in prison. Anyways, she is supposed to come to Congress. So, I mean, are they going to let her wear civilian clothes? Is she going to have to wear an orange jumpsuit and come into the Senate hearing wearing, leg irons and handcuffs? And will we get, if that happens, will we get a Lee Harvey Oswald moment, which is, they were moving Lee Harvey Oswald through the garage, and Jack Ruby puts a bullet in him and kills him. And then Jack Ruby goes to jail. The big thought is, and folks, we love our conspiracy theories. Ghislaine Maxwell is going to be briefed, and she's going to be told, according to the conspiracy theory. Share your thoughts on this as well. Her job is to make Trump look like he's not involved with Epstein, that they were never friends, that Trump was never on his airplane, that Trump didn't talk about how they like young women. Whatever it is that could be incriminating, she is going to be told, you will exonerate President Trump and you'll get a pardon. Now, I don't like the idea of that. But what if she were to come to Congress? Is she going to implicate anyone? Is she going to say, right, Lord something or other from England? Is she going to name Crown Prince A and Crown Prince B and Crown Prince C? Is she going to name Senator such and such, Congressman so-and-so, Chairman of the Federal Reserve, Mr. Y and Mr. Q? Is she going to name CEO XYZ and CFO XYZ and banker LMNOP? We don't know. It would nice to be getting some names, so I don't know what the point of all this is, to bring her out. Or, in fact, I believe Pam Bondi, and I know everyone has an opinion of her that she is absolute garbage because we have 0 arrests. 0, folks, 0 arrests for all the treason, election fraud, financial crimes, money laundering, government fraud, waste, and abuse. Not to mention the Epstein crimes. Nothing. What if Hillary Clinton puts on a Pam Bondi wig and sneaks into the prison? You think she'll arc inside Ghislaine Maxwell from talking? We're going to find out. Oh, yes, we are. There's a lot going on, folks. Oh, by the way, Ellen DeGenerate. That's right. Ellen DeGenerate is permanently moved to England because she says there's no Trump there and, quote, everything here is just better. Ellen DeGenerate is such an ugly human being that I think she's probably safe from being raped by the radical Islamic Muslims over there. They wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot camel dork. In any event, the baloney continues, folks. It is kabuki theater, and we've got front row seats, you and I. And the world is in turmoil. World is in turmoil. The price of housing is an all-time high. The number of people losing their mortgages, defaulting, going into delayed or delinquent payments it's going off the hook. We've got problems. I hope you are prepared, right? Now, apparently, Pam Bondi went to a judge and says, you need to release the Epstein files from Epstein's trial and I guess Jizzy's trial, whatever. Well, the judge who's overseeing this just happens to be an Obama judge. And he's not just going to give the files up. No. He's got his own quid pro quo. He's got a list of demands. I don't understand why judges are running the country. Unless I were to subscribe to the notion that we're being ruled by a bunch of, bureaucrats, because that's what these judges are. They're appointed. And then, the Senate confirms their appointment with their vote. And the same goes with cabinet members. So there's some concern out there right now, right? Trump attorney, interim. She's an interim U.S. attorney. She's been serving in her interim status. And the district court in New Jersey, that's right, district court judges have voted to kick her out because Democrat Hakeem Jeffries, follow me here, Democrat leader of the minority party, the Democrats in the House, has objected to Alina Habba being a U.S. attorney. So judges vote. So the judges vote. When judges vote, votes are counted. When you and I vote, it doesn't fucking matter what we want. The president will do what he wants. He'll say what he wants. He'll go back on his promises. Too bad. Judges vote, it matters. So here we have a president who's elected. He selects Alina Habba as a U.S. district attorney. The Senate refuses to vote on it, to take it up. So she has been an interim. And so that interim time period is up and it goes before judges who then determine with their vote no, because a congressman has decided to get involved. I think we voted for Trump to appoint attorneys and judges that go through the process, but this is how it works, folks. This is the game. We're getting yanked around. Every one of my 10 toes has a rope on it and it's being pulled in a different direction. It hurts. It sucks, right? But that's what it feels like. Now, we were told by Trump 2 days ago that we're going to go after Adam Schiff, right? Monday morning. And then today it's Obama is a traitor. He's committed treason, right? Anything but the Epstein stuff. And now, right, they're actually saying Letitia James, who's guilty by all the paperwork, guilty by any standard of evidence, of the same thing Schiff is guilty of, mortgage fraud. She's now been implicated, get this, she's implicated in Chinese and Iranian sanctions and a scheme with a bank. How did the Attorney General of New York, the state, get her hands, her fat little sausages, into Chinese and Iranian money in international banking? Shouldn't she be wearing an orange jumpsuit and in trouble? See, no one's going to jail. Once again, Pam Bondi, not arresting anybody. Not arresting anybody. And Trump is continuing to insult people for wanting to fix the country, right? In fact, it's like, why is Letitia James have anything to do with Iran and China? And why is that in the news now when she should already be handcuffed to a fucking iron pole for what she's done and lied? I think the penalty for government officials, especially judges, prosecutors, or anyone with a lawyer's degree, so that includes aides to senators and Congress people, because they should know better. If ignorance of the law is no excuse for me or you, I think breaking the law for someone who should know the law should be 10 times as bad. Why not? They throw the book at us. They seem to have forgot how to read the book for themselves. And that's why I say, look, shit has hit the fan. No one's being held accountable, period. And now Trump, he's left the reservation. Instead of talking about Adam Schiff, instead of talking about Obama, instead of talking about Hillary or John Brennan or James Clapper or James Comey or Jeffrey Epstein's clients, he's asking the quadruple murderer in the state of Idaho. His name is Brian Koberger. He wants answers from this guy ahead of the sentencing. But, you know, he got a plea deal. And Trump wants answers. He's demanding it. Well, Trump has time for this creep, a 4-time murderer, that kind of a creep. But Jeffrey Epstein is associated with people who have raped thousands of children, dozens of whom have come forward and named what names they could and said, you know, Jeffrey Epstein, Jizzy Maxwell. So Trump has enough time to look into a murder case in Idaho involving a quadruple murderer, but he can't tell Pam Bondi to release the Epstein client list and let justice take its course. You see, that's just it. Justice can take its course. What do you guys want to talk about, folks? It is your show in about 15 minutes. All right, I'm going to continue my monologue, but I want to know what's on your mind. And this one was golden, folks. Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, right, released a bunch of facts, proof, evidence that Barack Hussein, a.k.a. Barry Soetoro Obama, they showed his school ID in the media, and his name is Barry Soetoro, and it said he's a foreign student. If he's born in America, why is he a foreign student? Oh, stop asking questions. Anyways, she released papers that demonstrate Obama, Clapper, Comey, Brennan, Hillary, everybody in his administration and after is guilty of crimes. Now Tulsi has come out and she released 230 pages about Martin Luther King and his assassination. No, wait, I stand corrected. 230,000 pages. You believe that? Having to do with Martin Luther King and his assassination. I don't remember asking. Did you guys ask? Who asked about Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination? Oh, we want to know about JFK, but they won't release that unredacted. But they released 230,000 pages of Martin Luther King Jr. We want the Epstein client list. It's probably only 10 pages. Anyways, Martin Luther King Jr.'s daughter, in response to this 230,000 page dump by Tulsi Gabbard, says on X, This is a quote. Now do the Epstein files, right? She didn't miss a beat. They're dragging her dad up after 60 fucking years, but they won't bring up the Epstein client list, which is current criminals. Anyways, she totally trolled the White House. She trolled the administration. She trolled Washington, D.C. She trolled the pedophiles with that one. And America applauded what she wrote. And along with her, we're all demanding truth. We're all demanding justice. That's all we want is truth and justice. Justice to hold the criminals accountable, and justice for the children that were tortured and harmed and psychologically battered and physically raped, and yes, also killed. They're hiding that, folks. They're absolutely hiding that. There's so much going on out there, folks. It is shocking what is going on. Now, I told you that Trump says Obama is a traitor, is treasonous. This is coming from the President of the United States. And the proof is right there. Why is he not arrested? I mean, General Michael Flynn says, hey, we need to go to his house and confiscate his passports. I mean, they could just say, hey, look, if he gets on a plane trying to leave the country, you stop him. We don't need to confiscate his passport. But just arrest him at that point because he is a fleeing suspect, a traitor. And someone actually wrote, well, if Obama isn't an American, how can he be tried for treason? And I thought, good question. Except he took an oath as the president while pretending to be an American. And why don't we just grant him instant citizenship so we can grant him a length of rope to hang from? In any event, an Obama spokesperson has come out because, well, Trump called Obama the ringleader, and they don't like that. They don't like themselves being called names. It's a mess, folks. It's an absolute shit show. What is going on, right? Right. It's an absolute shit show. Trump says, quote, they caught Obama absolutely cold. It's time to go after people. Trump went off. He called for Obama to be prosecuted. He's guilty is the quote. Here's another quote. This was treason. Now, if Trump can point to Obama, see the information and go, this was treason, right? He's guilty. It's time to go after him. Well, if it's time to go after people, why don't we go after all the bad guys? Isn't it just as easy to say that Obama is a creep and ignore his past actions and go, well, that's the past? The same way Trump looks at the Epstein files and goes, that guy is a creep and that's the past. Let's just get on with this. Trump's job is actually pretty easy. All he needs to do is say, arrest Obama, which he appears to be saying everything except giving that command, right? It's just as easy for him to say, Obama, this was treason, as it is to say, release the Epstein clients list and arrest those people on the list immediately. Can you imagine the uproar of applause from Americans if Trump were to do that? He would be the hero that everyone wants him to be. He would be the GOAT, right? He would be the greatest of all time, GOAT, G-O-A-T. Instead, he's a goat. But, right? He's worthless. He's just bleeding, blah, 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 talking crap. So for a lot of people, they're like, well, he's putting the case together. You guys just need to stay calm. You need to, and I've read everything that's said about you and me. If you are like, Trump is blowing this, Trump is making a mistake, this is wrong, this isn't how you do things. Like, you guys just don't understand. Well, look, if he just said, I can't talk about the Epstein files, It's an ongoing investigation. Paperwork is being put together, and I can't comment on it. That'd be totally different than saying, he's a creep, and why are we still talking about this, and blow it off. Big difference, right? He's telling us it's a hoax, telling us we're stupid, calling us very disrespectful names, right? All very bad. There's a big difference between saying we have an investigation and you guys are fucking morons, which is essentially what he said. Can't tell me that they're going to go and get all of the Epstein people after the things he said. He can change his mind, though. Right? I keep waiting. In fact, I wrote one person. I said, is this what 4D chess is? How he's fooling everybody, including us? And ultimately, he's going to go arrest people? Well, I could believe he's going to arrest somebody if he had arrested anybody. And by him, Trump, I mean the entire Trump administration. They haven't arrested a single Democrat or a single Republican for their crimes having to do with, the Russiagate, having to do with the Epstein, child porn, child rape, Pizzagate affair. Not a single person has been arrested. They haven't arrested anybody at all, period. So why should we believe anything that they say? In fact, has anyone heard from Dan Bongino this week? Ooh, man, have you? I haven't heard him, seen him. No Twitter X posts, no social media appearances, no mainstream media. Where the hell is Dan Bongino? What, did they clone him and his clone is even objecting to what's going on? Or has he been told, look, you're going to keep your job and you're going to stay in your desk and you're going to shut up? Well, he's still one of the three stooges in my book. I'm not letting him off either. You can't have power and authority and not use it to protect the weak, protect the innocent, and protect the country against crime. You can't have it both ways. Anyways, calling Obama a ringleader, I think was pretty funny. It's going to get better, folks. It's going to get crazier. I really hope you are fully prepared. And I find it amazing, absolutely amazing, that Hunter Biden was willing to do what he did. I guess he was willing to go in the media and attack Obama and attack other politicians, including a George Clooney, right? George Clooney, for crapping on his dad. Well, you see, Hunter Biden has a pardon. I think all the other pardons are null and void. And that's the other investigation, that they have the perpetrators cold, dead, red-handed. Right, there's blood on their hands. That would be the AutoPen scandal. They did the investigation. They figured out who's responsible, who the accomplices are. And they're not arrested. They're not arrested. It doesn't take that long. You see a bunch of old men, old women, as well as young men and younger women, but they went on January 6, 2021 to Washington, D.C. to protest the fraudulent certification of a stolen election for president in the United States of America. And every single one of them was arrested for no crimes, for attending a protest and standing in Washington, D.C. Now, some of them were charged with illegal parading. Oh, yeah. They illegally paraded when they walked through Congress. That was the crime, folks. They were held for years. Some of them got a trial the first year. Others 2 years, 3 years. Others never got a trial. They were held indefinitely, no charges, no arraignment. But we can't arrest pedophiles that we have evidence against, a real crime, not parading pedophiles. We can't arrest somebody for forgery, forging the president's signature, but we can arrest old men and old women and patriots for parading. There was no insurrection. That was never proved. Couldn't be proved because it wasn't. And Nancy Pelosi, who admitted that this was a complete setup to frame the protesters as insurrectionists by bringing in FBI and also Antifa to be agents provocateur to cause violence to occur so the police could attack them and make it look like an insurrection. But Nancy Pelosi hasn't been arrested nor charged with a seditious conspiracy or as part of the conspiracy to defraud Trump in the 2020 election. Nope, absolutely no trouble. No trouble for Nancy. But they can arrest every single American. Every single one of them. And now, Congressman Massey. Everyone knows all about Congressman Massey, or you should, because Trump is directly attacking him. And he's swearing he's going to primary him. Trump is trying to get someone in Massey's congressional district to run against him, and nobody wants the job because they're going to lose. You see, Trump's power disintegrates when he's not doing the right thing. But Congressman Massey has legislation that he is getting signatures on so they can get enough signatures to force a vote to release the Epstein client list and other associated paperwork. Hell, if we can let out the JFK paperwork and the Martin Luther King Jr. paperwork, we can let that out. Hey, why not the Epstein paperwork? Oh, no, we can't do that. So they're actually accusing Congressman Johnson of giving the House of Representatives the rest of this month, the rest of July, another week in July, and all 4 weeks of August. They don't have to come back to Congress until September. But don't worry, they're going to get paid approximately $14,000 in pay. They get to take off the month with pay. And they will not vote to release the Epstein files because no one's going to be in Congress. Speaker Johnson, maggot Mike Johnson, who himself is looking more and more and sounding more and more like an Epstein client list pedophile. They don't want to vote to release this this list. The more they object, the more they refuse, the more we should scream and yell. And in social media, I am doing my part, and I'm sure you guys are as well. And that has caused Trump to turn around. It's caused him to readdress it, even though he readdresses it and throws insults out there. To me, that's the signature. That's the symbol. That's the behavior. That's the attitude of somebody who's guilty or somebody who has an axe to grind in the affair. Once again, I don't know why he doesn't come clean. It's the best way to get through this. Come clean. Nobody's perfect, Mr. President. Come clean. Are you being held for ransom? Is your family being threatened? Is the country being threatened? Who's doing the threatening? Put it out there. Right? If he came out and said, look, Iran has 5 nuclear suitcase bombs. And if we try to pick them up, the guy holding the bomb will light them off. They got one in Washington, D.C., one in New York, got one in Chicago, we got one in Los Angeles, and one in Dallas, right? And we know where it's at. We know who has it. But we can't go in and get them or they'll detonate it and kill millions of people. But we were told we cannot release the Epstein list or they will set them all off, right? We're being held hostage, in other words. If Trump came clean, we'd get behind him and go, oh, is that the case? Well, if one of those bombs goes off, we're going to go kick the ever-loving stuffing out of the Iranians, right? That would be easy to do. There's got to be a way out of this for Trump that can make him a hero versus a goat. And it's looking like that's not possible because he's not finding a way out of this, which leads me to believe that there's only one other solution. And that is that he's guilty. And he's taking time to scrub his name with the FBI agents. Folks, there's supposed to be 500 to 1,000 FBI agents who want to testify. They have sworn affidavits. And Tulsi Gabbard is talking about releasing more information against James Comey, Obama, Brennan, Clapper, the whole list of them. If they're willing to burn down Obama and Comey and Brennan and Clapper, these communist Muslim scumbags, oh, they are. I don't know if James Comey is, but he may as well be. He's a fucking traitor. They need to do that. And while you're at it, you got the door open on the oven and you're shoveling coal in there. Might as well throw the Epstein files and make that fire burn hot, and let's clean the country up. You see, you have a tumor, you don't just cut a little piece of the tumor out, you take it all out and you save the patient. Crazy business. All right, folks. Oh, I went a little bit long, but hey, it's a Taco Tuesday for you. Let's see what you guys want to talk about. And we're back. What the heck is going on? You guys, if you're here Monday through Friday, you're the inner circle. You are the inner circle. To be here, all you have to do is be on thepreparedmind.club. $2 a month, premium subscription. You can be here commenting. Subscribestar.com, same story, just a different format, right? $2 a month, helps support the channel. And on X, right, you guys can be here live Monday through Friday. So let's see what you guys want to talk about. Mr. Uman, let's roll into it. And we've got Mr. Diving Frog. And he says, John, our last president was an idiot. Hard to argue against that. He says, Trump is no more than a self-involved bullshit artist of total disappointment. If you want to destroy a man, you must destroy his name first. Trump is too dumb to realize he's doing all the work for the establishment. Like I said, total BS artist. Now, here's the deal, right? Trump is a billionaire. Trump is a businessman. Trump is a real estate developer. Trump is a hotel owner, right? He's all those things. Trump has been a celebrity since the early 1980s. Trump is famous. Trump is famous for helping out little people. Trump is famous for screwing over business partners, allegedly screwing them over. Trump has a huge ego. He always has. Trump likes the ladies. In fact, information came out today that I saw that he met Melania Trump, his wife, for the first time, none other than on Epstein's plane and introduced by Epstein and Jizzy. And that the first time they had sex allegedly was on the plane. Now, Melania, of course, was an adult. She was a model, allegedly a porn star. But, here we are. It's like, here we are, Trump, okay? Trump is an egomaniac. Trump has a huge ego, a huge self-image. Trump is worried about his legacy, his believability. If you don't believe him, you're an idiot. Right? He's worried about his power, how much power he has. He's showing us how powerless he is. Trump is worried about his legacy and the legacy of the Trump name, but he's ruining that. This follows Mr. Diving Frog, right? His ego is being smashed. His legacy is being ruined. His power, we're seeing how powerless he is because somebody else is pulling his strings, right? So all Trump is, according to Mr. Diving Frog, is a bullshit artist because that's all he's got, right? Once again, like others in Congress, like Jim Jordan, like Congressman Trey Gowdy, like, I don't know, anyone in Congress, all they do is bark. They run to the end of their leash and charge at everybody, screaming and yelling and barking. But they got no bite. They got no teeth. They can't do anything. They're powerless. Jim Jordan is powerless. Trey Gowdy, who's no longer a congressman, but was, and then he became a talking head. He's a complete moron. Or no. He is a powerless, neutered male. Right? So he's famous for talking a good game, sounding very smart, but failing. Trump is doing that to himself now because he refuses to do what is right. He's going after Obama. Bark, bark, bark. Where's the bite? Where's the power? He's going after Comey, Clapper, Brennan. Remember all that? You should be arrested. And even during his campaigning, what was a slogan of the campaign? What was chanted at these massive, huge rallies? Which, of course, these massive, huge rallies fed Trump's ego and desire for power. Remember this one? Lock her up. Lock her up. Lock her. Remember that? Hillary has never been arrested, much less arraigned, prosecuted, tried, convicted, sentenced, and go to jail. One of the most evil human beings to live, especially if you factor in the supposed alleged videos of her terrorizing a young child and then cutting that child's face off. I mean, again, allegedly, the disk, the hard drive, the laptop of Anthony Weiner, another former congressman. He had an insurance policy. It was the Clinton insurance. And that's where these videos were found at by the NYPD. And apparently 9 of these NYPD committed suicide because what they saw was so horrifying that they couldn't believe it. I have a funny feeling that they were so horrified that they committed arkancide. But be that as it may, that's just a accusation out there, right? Crazy business, folks. But Mr. Diving Frog, I see what you're saying. Trump is allowing his name to be destroyed, his legacy to be destroyed, his ego to be smashed, and his power to be dissolved. And he could take it all back instantly. And he could just come out and say, I never did any of the things that are going to be accused of. Right? Just like we're told, hey, if you're being arrested, you'll have your day in court. Right? Hey, Trump, you've got your court of public opinion. You can tell everyone we're releasing the list. There's innocent people on that list that flew on the plane. That doesn't mean they're pedophiles. There's innocent people that went to Jeffrey Epstein's island, never committed any crimes. So we need to go through the facts of the case, right? And there are people who are pedophiles and they should be arrested. He could come out and he could be a hero and come clean. Yeah, I flew on the plane. I knew the guy, found out he was a scumbag, a creep, and I cut off the relationship, right? And he can have his day. He can have his day in front of the media, in front of the world. And it would show his strength, but he won't do it. Apparently, I'm not a political scientist. I'm not a poli-sci graduate working in the White House. Instead, they're making him look guilty as fuck and look weak, and he is destroying his name, his reputation, and soon his legacy. All right, Mr. Diving Frog, thank you so much. Uman wants to join the conversation. He says, most normal folks get their dopamine fix. Dopamine being a drug that our mind creates on the inside that gives us feelings of elation, comfort, satisfaction, goodness, like taking a bite of a big, juicy, freshly made taco, because it's Taco Tuesday. That happiness feeling is a dopamine rush, right? So most normal folks get their dopamine fix by emotionally reacting to the headlines. That's a big deal. It's your dopamine rush. I knew it, and you get mad, right? Either for or against Trump. They get off on that. That's the whole social media drug addiction. So he says they get their dopamine fix by emotionally reacting to the headlines. They're appeased for a while, then they forget about it. And I think I talked about this where I said Trump should not release videos of Obama being arrested that's artificial intelligence created. It's fiction. It's a lie. Because people will watch that. They'll get all excited and laugh their ass off, right? But then they'll be satisfied. You're full. Like when you eat, that first bite is so good, and every bite is good. But as you get full, you're like, okay, I'm full. I've eaten enough. I'm satisfied. I have a feeling of elation and satisfaction. I got a full belly here. I don't need to worry about it anymore. You go to the couch and you fall asleep. Same story here. They get their fix. Yeah, Obama's guilty. And then they're like, I can just relax now. The government knows, they'll take care of it, and they just stop paying attention. That's the 72-hour news cycle type mentality. And we're going to continue to see that. Now, what I am pleased with, and even though, for a couple of days there, 3 or 4 days, 90 to 95% of every post as I scrolled on X was Trump, Epstein files, release them. Well, it's still going. It is not the only story because they have thrown a bunch of crap against the wall, right? They're bringing up Valerie Jarrett. They're bringing up Obama, Comey, Brennan, right? And all these, they're bringing up all kinds of stuff. And people are all thrilled and excited, pointing to their favorite hobby horse. Arrest them for that. Arrest them for that. Then they watch a video of someone getting arrested. Then they hear Letitia James is in more trouble. And then they hear fat ass Fannie Willis is in trouble. And then they're like, oh yeah, and then they forget where we're at, right? It's like, well, what were we fighting about? What was really important? Oh yeah, the actual scoreboard. 0 arrests. Not 5, not 3, not even 1, 0 arrests. Because people get their dopamine fix, their dopamine rush, their feelings of elation, satisfaction, completeness. And then, oh man, I need to rest. And they just stop thinking. They stop demanding. People today on X came out and said, if you think I forgot President Trump, you're wrong. I didn't. And these are people with tens of thousands of followers. So they get hearted. They get reposted. It's not over, folks. But right, it's going to be a hell of a fight. So keep fighting. All right, Mr. Uman, let us continue if we shall. What is the next topic coming from the insiders, the Prepared Mind insiders? Uman says the Navy whistleblower Tom Schiller says it was Obama Llama Ding Dong that gave Chinese nationals access to the United States government, I believe Department of Defense cyber systems via Microsoft government's Azure platform. Yeah, whoops. What I read is that it wasn't just the Obama administration. The decision literally was Obama's to give China access to our Department of Defense national security database. That is treason, my friends. Now, years ago, about 10 years ago, maybe it was 11, maybe it was 7, I don't know. Many, many years ago, a United States sailor was arrested for taking a picture of the inside of a nuclear submarine, a United States military naval submarine. They said that was an act of espionage. Have you guys seen a nuclear reactor on a submarine or a warship? It looks like some pipes and some shit, right? If you look at a picture of a micro nuclear reactor or a small modular reactor that's being created now for domestic use, like they're talking about now doing micro reactors for cargo ships rather than burning bunker fuel, which is just really dirty, shitty diesel. Right? They could power these ships for 5 to 10 years and never have to refuel them. You'll see a lot more details if you look at one of those civilian reactors as opposed to the military ones. But this guy was arrested for that, thrown in the brig, throw the fucking key away. But Obama, Lama Ding Dong, can give access to the entire system. Now, let me tell you what happens when someone has access to a system. Right? Now, when you're there hacking, you can be seen. But if you've got access, you're like an administrator. You can go where you want. There was a Scotsman named Gary, and his name will come to me in a moment, his last name. But he hacked into NASA through the internet, hacked in, got in through the front door, and was surfing around and discovered, before they called it Space Force, right? He hacked in and discovered that the Navy was part of the Space Force, and they had both Navy and Marine Corps officers who were flying around in spaceships. He got a hold of this, right? Different ships, space ships. How come we don't hear about this stuff? Right? But that guy, Gary, and I, for some reason, can't remember his last name, right? The United States government, right? They're like, you can't do that. They wanted to arrest him. They wanted to extradite him. Yeah, when you sneak into a computer system, you can find some crazy shit. China was allowed to come in. The government allowed them to come in. What national secrets do you think they found? Could that be why their fighter jets in China look exactly like the fighter jets that we have? A few minor changes. Could that be why their warships have the same capabilities as our warships? Yeah, exactly. All right, Mr. Uman, let us continue, if we shall, on the Prepared Mind channel. We've got James Floyd checking in. Thank you, Mr. James. He says, it's definitely time to go after Obama and everyone else who is involved in the Russian hoax. You bet, James. Now, here's the problem. Oh, if we're going after Obama and Brennan and Clapper and Comey and Hillary and Valerie Jarrett and Susan Rice, oh, we can't do the Epstein. No, that's a lie. It's an absolute lie. There's enough federal lawyers, judges, prosecutors, investigators to go after everything having to do with the Russia collusion hoax. Oh, put Adam Schiff in there too as their mouthpiece. Oh, by the way, they're now, every time I see Susan Rice, I go, that is a masculine looking bitch. They're now putting out photos that that's a dude. Put a mustache on her, give her some long hair. Looks just like a man who sat on a couch next to Obama before he was president. This Susan Rice looking dude had a big Cheech Marin mustache and hair. Anyways, they can put a team, put 50 freaking lawyers all over that case, and then turn around and put 50 lawyers on the Epstein client list. And then when those 50 lawyers are too much or are overburdened, bring in another 50, then bring in another 200. Look, if the IRS with tens of thousands of people can say, we need another 87,000 agents, why can't the government, not to audit you and me and Uman and anyone else, to go after real criminals, traitors, fraudsters, money launderers, extortionists? We don't have the resources for that. You are right. Go after Obama. Go after Susan Joe Rice. Go after all of them. Go after every banker, every royal asshole, every CEO, CFO, COO. Go after every politician on the Epstein client list and arrest them. You've got the evidence, arrest them. Now, a cop, a policeman, constabulary, they don't witness a crime. That guy's robbing a bank. That's a crime. I'm going to go to a judge and get an arrest warrant to go arrest that bank robber. No, they've got the evidence of a crime in progress, just like the Epstein clients are a crime in progress. They have committed pedophilia. They are committing and will commit. You see someone, you arrest them. You put them in jail and you put all the evidence together. You go get the video surveillance. Epstein, you get the video surveillance. You match the face on the video surveillance to the guy you got in the jail cell. That's the guy that robbed the bank. That's the guy that raped this one person. That's the guy, you see what I'm saying? It's not hard. But they're acting like it's hard. There's 500 to 1,000 FBI agents whom I have no respect for because zero arrests. And they are only now coming out and saying they'll point the finger at James Comey and Barack Obama because those 500 to 1,000 agents, whatever that number is, claim they were told to work on the Russia collusion case. In other words, they were told to commit crimes. Well, kind of makes them an accessory. At the same time, maybe they don't know or didn't know at the time that what they were working on was treasonous, but they're willing to testify. There's thousands of people out there who are part of this criminal enterprise, and there's thousands of people willing to turn state's evidence to convict these fucking people. It needs to happen. It truly does. Okay, Mr. Uman, let us continue. I know that in a way I'm, beating the horse pretty bad. We got Madara Uchiha. It says Google is not to be trusted. Oh, of course, Google is not. Microsoft is not to be trusted. Apple is not to be trusted. Amazon is not to be trusted. Netflix is not to be trusted. The government is not to be trusted. You want to know why? Because the government is failing to stick in their lane. They're failing to protect the country, to serve justice. They're failing to live up to their oaths. They're failing to live up to their campaign promises. Google's not to be trusted. You didn't give me any more evidence in support of your statement, so I'll go with that and say, you bet. I don't trust Google. I think they're a bunch of lying scumbags. In fact, I think most of the tech industry is full of anti-American, socialist, communist scumbags. I don't trust artificial intelligence, folks, and I'll tell you why. Because their algorithms and what artificial intelligence is supposed to do is skewed by programming. Kind of like a college student comes out of college today, and you're like, you're supposed to be smart. And the college student says, yes, I am smart. I have a degree from college XYZ. That certifies me as smart. And then you say, tell me about the communist takeover by the Bolsheviks in Russia. And they'll say, the Bolsheviks freed the enslaved people under Tsar Nicholas. So it was a good thing. It's like, it's not what I asked. And you just gave me an opinion that's skewed by your political beliefs. That's exactly what artificial intelligence is doing. Uman says artificial intelligence takes the popular opinion and asserts it as a fact, or AI takes a political opinion by its programmer and asserts it as a fact. It takes popular opinion, it takes political opinion, it takes cherry-picked facts, ignores other facts, draws a conclusion and says, well, I just told you the truth. No, you told me a half truth. You told me a quarter truth. You told me one person's opinion. Now, artificial intelligence, I believe Grok, which is X or Elon Musk's artificial intelligence, and it says that based on the evidence supplied by Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, that yes, the people named by Trump, Obama, Rice, Brennan, Clapper, Comey, have committed an act of treason. In any event, folks, you can't trust AI because it's programmed to lie. Let's do one more. We got some more time here, Mr. Uman. Uman says, what do you think the deal is with the post from the White House on X showing it all painted gold and gold coins falling from the sky? It's fairy dust. Everybody, stop looking at Epstein. I'm going to make you all rich. Remember when Trump promised $150 trillion in wealth was going to be unleashed? Did you hear that, Uman? Yeah, weeks and weeks and weeks ago, Trump told us all of our financial worries, all of our monetary worries are over. It's going to be the golden age. Right? Trump likes gold. Hey, I like gold. I like silver too. Right, there's my silver. That is my wealth preservation. There's my life savings right there. Anyways, right? My take is that Trump is trying to distract with the gold. We were told they're going to audit Fort Knox and the gold reserves. We're going to have $150 trillion of national assets released. We're going to have the assets of the United States government monetized to pay off the debt. It's just another distraction, in my opinion. I mean, something in gold could happen. What we do know is the Bank for International Settlements, an international bank that is the bank of all banks. It's the mother of all banks, the Moab of all banks. It says, according to its Basel III rule, that gold is now a tier 1 asset, the only other tier asset besides U.S. bonds, right, that's as good as cash. It's a cash equivalent. You can hold at the bank. So the banks are buying up gold hand over fist. That hasn't stopped. This idea that gold, we may not have a gold-backed currency, but we'll have a gold-based monetary system. Trump loves gold. He came up with his little saying, right? He put it out there. He who has the gold makes the rules. And then we're like, well, how much gold do we have, Mr. Trump? And he couldn't say. I just think it's another distraction. I don't want to smoke the hopium, Mr. Uman. I don't want to smoke the hopium. But, you know, there's hope. But I think misplaced hope, right? Unfounded hope. If Trump had audited Fort Knox, remember how they promised everyone $5,000 a Department of Government Efficiency refund? Because we're like, you fucking people spent hundreds of billions of dollars on shit. Trillions of dollars of lost money that we have overpaid in taxes. If the United States of America has $10 more money than they needed, and they give it to another country. That's $10 more they took from the American people that should not have been taken. But you see, they don't care. They'll just print money and give it away and then go, we're not giving away your money. We're giving away the money we printed. Well, that money you're printing, Federal Reserve, Treasury, President, Congress, bureaucracies, is devaluing our currency, what is left as money, or rather currency, the dollars. The more dollars they throw out there, the less valuable yours is. Remember, folks, at one point, Venezuela's bolivar had the same relative value as the United States dollar. But they went into a monetary crisis, and within a couple of years, it took 1 million bolivars to buy a stinking cup of coffee. That is monetary debasement that comes from currency printing and a distrust in the currency of a nation. The United States' exorbitant privilege of having the world reserve currency, the United States dollar, is dissolving very slowly. That's why we need gold, because every nation has decided that the Basel III rule, the Bank of International Settlements, all the central banks around the world have agreed that gold is going to be something everyone can agree on and trust. So that's kind of why I think Trump likes to use gold, because the saying is, it's as good as gold. Bitcoin, which is not a coin. Bitcoin, which is not a real object. You cannot hold a Bitcoin. You cannot see a Bitcoin. It's invisible. It's like a fucking ghost. The only evidence it's there is that there's a computer code that says it is. But Bitcoin, they make look like a gold coin because they want you to believe gold. It's gold. It's as good as gold. It has the same value, right? Just like Trump wants the White House to be gold. So you believe and trust the White House. And by extension, you believe and trust Trump and the government. I'll trust them when I start seeing arrests. But for now, the answer is 0 arrests, 0 trust. Chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. Do you have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense? Your plan. I'll see you guys 0 dark 30.